This is the true cold case of Jessica Mitchell. It is an early morning of a brand new year of 2021. Staff Sergeant Jessica Mitchell would not live to see the rest of the day of 2021. In October 19, 1990, in Topeka, Kansas, and a baby girl is born to Mayo and Brenda Mitchell. Jessica would be one of 3 children with siblings, Ashley and Justice. Growing up in Topeka, Jessica was described as spontaneous, hardworking, who wore her heart on her sleeve. And her father, Mayo, described the day Jessica turned 18, that she called him to tell him that she had signed up for the Army. Her father and grandfather had both served, so Jessica felt like it was the right path for her to take. Her family was happy for Jessica. She is, however, stated as her greatest accomplishment was, of course, her son, who was 10 years old at the time. She started her Army career first as a dental technician and then worked her way up to be a drill sergeant. And Jessica wanted to work hard, excel, and make a better life for her and her family. So tragedy would strike the Mitchell family in 2017 when 18-year-old Justice Mitchell was murdered in gun violence. Their father, Mayo Mitchell, claimed that when someone takes a life, it disrupts everyone. In 2017, Jessica was assigned to Fort Sam Houston here in San Antonio and became used to the area as she trained and studied. In 2019, she was assigned to the U.S. Army Medical Center of Excellence on JBSA. And her dad boasts that Jessica had big dreams and her ultimate goal was to work with criminal investigation. However, this would never happen as the new year in the city of San Antonio was ringing in 2021. Reportedly at Fourth Quarter Sports Bar, which is off of Wurzbach Parkway in I-10. Jessica posted pics on her social media that she was out that night celebrating the New Year's. And then shortly after that, headed home after the celebration. Jessica left at 2 a.m. and at 2:08 a.m., CCTV captures her white Dodge Charger down Wurzbach Parkway headed towards I-10. So she gets onto I-10 eastbound, and as soon as she gets speeding up, a red vehicle speeds up next to her driver's side and without warning sideswipes her car, pulls out a gun, and opens fire on Jessica, striking the driver's side of her white Charger and striking Jessica several times. The assailant's vehicle sped off as Jessica's car came to a halt on I-10. Police were quickly called and found the brazen scene of bullet casings, bullet holes, and the severely injured Jessica. She was transported to University Hospital and at 3:21 a.m. was pronounced dead. 3 hours in the new year, and her life was shot down. SAPD, along with Joint Base Army investigators, responded to the incident, and with little eyewitnesses during the early morning, there was very little to go on. One surveillance video showing a red SUV following Jessica's car on Wurzbach Parkway. This was along with the red paint on her car, became a car of interest. No one at the club reported anything. Her social media from that night shows nothing but good times. Her family in Kansas could not believe the events that unfolded that night. So Jessica's dad, Mayo Mitchell, commented that this was not a way he thought he could ever lose his second child to gun violence. He remarked how Jessica was in the Army and he would understand if her death was related to her job, but to be shot senseless on the street could never have thought. The photo of the red sedan was released in public in hopes of stirring leads along with the Army Criminal Investigation Division. There have been tons of efforts to get any information on who could have done this to Jessica. Jessica was not known to have any enemies. Staff Sergeant Jessica Mitchell was buried in her hometown of Topeka, Kansas, along with her brother. So, to this day, there are still no leads, no information, and very few connections to any person or motive to Jessica's death.
Mistaken identity?
Oh, that's...
Like they might
have thought she was someone else. That's quite possible. I mean, Wurzbach Parkway, back in 2021...
It's rare that you would find a single car on the strip.
Like, it's kind of a busy place. There's bars on Wurzbach Parkway, and there's...
I mean, on New Year's,
it's busy, right? You would think it'd be busy.
Well, not at that time. Because it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Either people are where they're going to be, but they're not, like, driving somewhere. Driving home, maybe, but at 2 o'clock, it's just now 2 hours into the new year, so you're kind of...
Mm-hmm. And it could be mistaken identity. It really, I mean...
Before the red car to kind of just show up at the same time that her truck is... Well, not truck, but car is on the same area.
Or if they followed her from the bar.
You would think it would have to be somebody that knew where she was coming from.
Mm-hmm.
To be going the same direction at that particular time.
To follow her to get on I-10.
Because obviously the bar was still open. But
and she was by herself. She left by herself. She had no issues. Her family said there was nothing reported. Like, her social media was good. She had a good night that night. There was no reports that maybe she had any issues. Her family was not aware of anything. There was nothing, like, in her history as far as, like, being on the base of any issues.
But, I mean, when you have issues, you have enemies, you don't necessarily know about them.
No, I know.
If she's doing well in life, you're going to have haters.
For
sure. It could have been somebody that was just a hater.
That's what I feel. I feel like maybe someone got jealous or upset, or maybe she turned someone down at the bar that night. And you know what I mean? Or someone just took something, I don't know. I feel like because she was single, she was successful, she, you know, probably wasn't looking in anything like that, and maybe someone took it the wrong way. And
it's dark. Maybe that if they didn't have their lights on,
I'm like, if
she didn't
dark.
see them. But if the surveillance camera or whatever is picking this up, did they not see this car either? Like, how did she not see this car?
She wasn't paying. That's why I think it's like somebody that she wasn't even looking out for. So mistaken identity sounds like it could be on point, but also could be someone just at that night, she turned them down, or, you know, maybe she's turned them down in the past and they didn't like that, and unfortunately that's all it takes nowadays. So if you or anyone else may have information regarding Staff Sergeant Jessica Mitchell's murder, contact Crime Stoppers at 210-207-4142, or you can always leave an anonymous tip online at p3tips.com. And they're currently offering up to a $50,000 reward for anyone that may have information that can lead to an arrest.